And also, as far as the sister goes that was murdered inside her home, just to let you all know, my channel was shut down a week ago. So I was in the process of trying to get up, some other things, okay, when this happened. So I didn't get a chance to do that. And that's okay. It's okay. Because I know you guys out there, you're doing your job, you're on your job, and that's a beautiful thing. We're working together as a team. But I had plans on throwing up something in reference to Breonna and her being assassinated in her home, and the fact that her boyfriend defended her honor, which is huge, 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 huge. Okay, a black man standing up for the rights and the safety of his wife, his home, everything. That is what it's all about. Now, I want to speak further on that, but I wanted to throw that in here at the ending, that we applaud him for doing what anyone would have done with a home invasion. Okay? So, yeah, Black Power family. So, I had a chance to listen to this video that I'm going to throw up for you all in reference to Breonna Taylor's attorney, Mr. Crump, and another, I don't know this person, what her title is. Her name is AMJOY, Amjoy, or he's calling her Joy. So I'm not sure what her job title is. I'll figure it out later. But here's the main issue. I've been saying this forever, and no one listened to me. And what we wanted to do then, okay, was believe other entities and try to write off when black women are trying to inform the public that we are being violated. People are coming into our homes without probable cause, without permission, unlocking doors, coming in there behind our backs, sneaking around, doing all kinds of torturous things and behaviors that cause injuries and death. No one listened to me. Now, today, people are starting to wake up and realize that this is actually happening. Okay, inside of these apartments here in America and inside of these private homes that are not owned, even if you are a owner of the home or whatever, they're doing that as well. So I'm glad now that we're finally realizing that this is what it is. So this is an interesting clip because the two of them are discussing what rights do the black community have as it concerns the rights to bear arms and stand their ground, like George Zimmerman allegedly used to get his wicked ass off the hook when he assassinated Trayvon Martin. So now you have Breonna Taylor there in Kentucky. And they definitely have that law down there in Kentucky, but yet her man is behind bars. But here we have, like they said, this is a very interesting situation here. You have Breonna Taylor. She's assassinated. She's no longer on the earth. And my condolences to the Taylor family. The black community sends their condolences to the Taylor family, and the black conscious community sends their condolences to Breonna Taylor's family, beloved. We also send our meditations and all of our divine, highest level of energy to the brother Kenneth. What is his last name? That is in custody right now, and Kenneth Walker for standing his ground, defending himself against home invasion. okay, from undercover police officers. So it's not just people who are working in law enforcement. You have people in all walks of life, people who are owners of apartment complexes, who have maintenance people who have keys to your apartment, people who are owners of property, people who are simply assailants, burglars, criminally insane. All of them are criminally insane, and just literally coming in in the homes of black people and doing whatever they feel like doing. Whatever spirit hits them, that's what they're doing. So I'm really happy to know that we're finally understanding that no, Goddess Terrain, aka Sister Terrain, is not crazy. Okay? I am a person that actually listens, and I've heard other people crying out for a very long time and no one was doing anything. Now that it's spilling over into what we considered once upon a time good upstanding citizens, because again, we've been programmed and conditioned to put some of our community in one category and others in our community in another. And those that are in the community that, you know, we look upon as good citizens, decent citizens, we look at them in a different light than those that we consider to be undesirables for whatever reason. It may not even be anything undesirable about them, but some of us just chose to put them in that category. So anytime those categories speak out about things that are being done, crimes that are being committed, assailants, criminally insane, socially, sociopath, psychopathic behaviors carried out against our community, and in this case, that particular sub-community inside of the black community, no one said anything or did anything. It took for it to spill over into the regular, whatever that is. I'm just using that word right now because, you know, I'm drawing a point. But spilled over into the regular community, or those that we look upon as normal, or whatever adjectives you want to use there, because none of them, in my opinion, it applies, because we're all in the same boat. But just for the sake of being clear on where I'm coming from and driving my point home, now that it's spilling over into the people that some of us place in a different category or status, and it's happening now. People are coming in on them in the night, during while they're sleeping. So now we're looking at it differently, and it's long overdue. And as I said a million times, and I will say it a million times more, total separation is needed, effective, immediately. And another very interesting point that Attorney Crump draws attention to is how long the McMichaels were free to live in that community. Okay, I'm pretty sure people were just totally, PTSD was off the charts. I'm sure of it. Okay, after that, I'm certain there were ones there that just felt extremely uncomfortable seeing them for 10 weeks, mind you. Okay, I didn't say 10 days, okay, or 10 hours, 10 weeks of them being in that community before an arrest was made, because they decided, like during COVID-19, they used that opportunity to brush under the rug Breonna Taylors assassination and Ahmuad Arbreys assassination. That's why when we got the videos in the black community, everyone was flabbergasted. You know, our mouths were like, what is this? Where did this come from? And when did this happen? We hadn't heard no news on it, nothing. All we knew is a video pops up, and it's the most horrific, heinous video that it's just shocking to see it. I mean, still, I'm in a state of shock, traumatized. And then, lo and behold, this is the way I received the information. I'm sure those of you around the country probably say, yeah, that's kind of how we found out too. Then, lo and behold, we find out that Breonna Taylor was ambushed in her home in the middle of the night while she was asleep. Her and her man was there sleeping. So like he draw the point, the McMichaels were able to be in the community for 10 weeks without being arrested. Meanwhile, Kenneth Walker is behind bars instantaneously. Okay, and he wasn't somebody was out jogging and he shot them. No, somebody came in his home in the middle of the night. And if you try to go to the argument of, well, they were police officers, but they were in plain clothes. And even if they were, they have to have a search warrant. You just can't come barging into someone's home. This is the problem with them. Like I said, these things, I believe that the separation will bring much of this to a screeching halt. We need to go back to how we did it old school wise. So this brother is now immediately, he's picked up and placed in jail for using and exercising his right, his Second Amendment right to bear arms and to defend himself in any imminent danger. So my question is, okay, to the rest of the Black community that actually, has all of their paperwork lined up to legally carry and operate a firearm. What do you all think about this? Because this is very interesting. It really is. I'd love to know what everyone thinks about how this is playing out. Because like the sister is saying, and this article, I'll throw it up for you all. You can see it and look at it yourself and listen to the videos. But it's a very interesting contrast. Is there really right to bear arms rights and whatnot and defend yourself for the Black community without going to jail? Obviously, it's something, because it's beyond right to bear arms. It's assassinate anyone you don't like jogging through your neighborhood, and you get to be free for 10 weeks, and you might even get to walk free, depending on who the judge is. So these are questions that we have, and we want some answers.
Not the person detained, and then they execute a warrant to detain the same person.
It makes no sense, Joy, because they had the subject in their custody. If they just followed their policies and procedures and not executed this violent, I believe, unconstitutional no-knock warrant that is so dangerous when you think about it, and it's disproportionately applied in communities of color, where you burst open the doors or you throw bombs on the doors, people don't know what's going on, and then you run in with guns blazing. And you can imagine if you sleep in your bed at 1 o'clock at night and somebody does this, what your reactions might be. And especially if you're an African American, if we move the wrong way, it's shoot first and ask questions later.
And the boyfriend of this young woman, who is a licensed gun owner, did what people get a gun for. That if someone bursts into your house after midnight and you don't know who it is, what happened to his rights of stand your ground? Isn't Kentucky one of these stand your ground castle doctrine states?
Yes, it is, Joy Reid. And you have to ask the question, do African Americans have a right to the Second Amendment? I think when you look at what Kenny Walker did, he tried to defend his castle. He tried to defend his woman. He tried to defend their lives. But when he said self-defense and stand your ground, the police arrested him immediately and took him to jail and charged him with attempted murder, where he's facing life in prison.
Yeah, interesting that didn't happen in Georgia. We'll talk about that a little bit later. But to stay on this case, the Louisville postal inspector has said that there were no packages of interest at Breonna Taylor's home. A postal inspector in Louisville said Metro Police did not use his office to verify that a drug suspect was receiving packages, meaning drugs, at Breonna Taylor's apartment, which is one of the factors that was listed in the officer's request for a no-knock warrant in her home. We also have, according to well, we'll just stay with that right there. So is there any evidence at all that police had any reason to enter that home? Any reason at all?
Not that Breonna's family is aware of. And in fact, Joy, we think that it is a bombshell when you know, and we can prove objectively now that they put false information in the affidavit that they gave to a circuit judge for the basis of getting this no-knock warrant for Breonna Taylor's apartment. Think about it, Joy. They said that the U.S. Postal Inspector verified that packages were being delivered to Breonna Taylor's house for this drug suspect. The United States Postal Inspector is now on the record as saying emphatically that is not the case, and there were no packages of interest that went to Breonna Taylor's home. And so her family are finally trying to get some of the answers, but it still doesn't add up why the police will give false information.
Yeah. You have now calls asking for the feds to step in, although given this current Justice Department, I'm not sure that helps at all. But anyway, officials announced on Wednesday that the Commonwealth's attorney, Tom Wine, is stepping aside from reviewing whether officers should face criminal charges because his office intends to prosecute Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker. So this prosecutor is determined to go ahead and prosecute Mr. Walker regardless for using his stand your ground, for trying to stand his ground, and now they're saying they're going to step aside. Is there a single prosecutor in this case that has come forward and been helpful to this family at all?
Not at this point. Nobody has given any answers, Joy. And just two things. You mentioned Ahmuad Arbery. We have to remember that Black women's lives matter too, equally. And so if you ran for Ahmuad, you need to stand for Bree, because when you look at these two cases and the issues, it's just unbelievable. Never have I seen two cases, Joy, that has such a vivid distinction of self-defense in black and white. When you think about the killers of Ahmuad Arbery, who executed him in broad daylight, there was a video. And when the police came to them, they said self-defense. And when they said that, they were not arrested. They were allowed to leave and go home and sleep in their beds peacefully for 10 weeks. But then when Kenny Walker, who was in the bed with Breonna, when the police came in plain clothes, we have to remember that, they did not announce themselves. They called 911. They believed that it was a home invasion, that they were going to be burglarized. And so Kenneth fired a single shot, and then the police shot over 20 rounds. I mean, from the front door, from the back window, from the patio. They were so reckless, Joy, that bullets went into the neighbors' apartments. A little 5-year-old girl was sleeping, had a bullet in her room, and Breonna was executed. When they confronted Kenny Walker, he said, "We were trying to protect ourselves. It was self-defense." But they arrested him on the spot, put him in jail. He is charged with attempted murder and facing life in prison, and he killed nobody. Now, tell me that is not self-defense in black and white in America.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. It's almost, poetically tragic. And I want to make note for the audience too that one of the people who killed Ahmuad Arbery is a former police officer, Gregory McMichael, whose law enforcement certification was suspended in 2019 after repeated failures to complete required training, according to records. So he was a police officer who couldn't even be a police officer anymore. So just want to throw that in there as well.
Okay, so that wraps up what I have on Breonna Taylor assassination and her boyfriend Kenneth Walker's arrest and waiting trial or whatever, wherever they are now in the situation or the judicial process. I guess trying to hold him, accountable or charge him with attempted murder or whatever. It's just bizarre. It's hard to even get it out. Like, it's difficult. The words keep getting jumbled up in my mouth. But family, I would really like to know your comments, and let me know what your thoughts are about this information. I really would like to know, what are your thoughts? And as I said in other videos, what does the future hold for America and the Black community? What future is there for the Black community in America under these tyrannical, terroristic, barbaric, slanderous, injurious, murderous conditions that we're living in, oppressive conditions? I'm just curious. If somebody could show me a light at the end of the tunnel, I would really, really like to see and hear about it. And, so that I can look at it myself and say, yeah, they're right. That is true. You do have that over there, and that's actually something that's viable, a viable option that's actually, turning out to be something good in the Black community. So if you have information on what that is, please share that and let me know what your thoughts are about this video. That's it for this one, family. It's your girl, Goddess Terrain, aka G9. Stay tuned for the next episode. Have a great day, family. Black Power.